welcome to the Sew It Seems studio. I'm Veronica Johnson, and I'm so glad that you came to spend a little bit of time with me. Today is going to be a little bit different because I want to introduce a new segment, and this segment is going to focus specifically on my online quilting forum that I am part of. I belong to a group called Quilting Around the World, or QATW for short. I joined Quilting Around the World when my son had just turned 1. I've been sewing since I was 9, mostly clothing sewing. Um, Went into home decor, did that mostly as a business, and also did cloth doll making, and then some alterations and repairs. I had tired of doing home decor sewing because the projects were so big and it was harder to do something small. Also, with cloth doll sewing, I really got burned out with different various things, and I might go into that sometime. But I was looking for something to do, and also my body had changed sizes, and it was becoming discouraging to do clothing sewing. I came across some quilting sites, and the one that I gravitated toward was Quilting Around the World. I first discovered them on MSN groups online, and a few years later, they had to move to a different forum because MSN had closed down their groups. So they created their own forum, and it's quiltingaroundtheworld.com. Being part of this online forum was a way of being part of a quilting guild. As a young mother, I did try to look into joining a quilting guild, but most of them gave off the impression that they did not want young children or babies present in their meetings. I didn't really have an option for being able to go to these without bringing the children with me. Eventually, I had 3. And so I had to find a different way of being able to be involved. And that's where Quilting Around the World really stepped up and filled that plate for me. In this format, I was able to learn quilting. I was very new to it, so I still needed to learn the differences between the types of quality in fabrics. I mean, there are cottons, but there's different types of cotton that you quickly learn when you start doing quilting. It was also a place for me to get to know other quilters, and it was a very safe place. I just enjoyed getting to know people through various different ways. They had a chat room, which has kind of been my go-to for the past 15 years of getting into the chat room and really getting to know people in there. It's a private chat where it's just the members can go into this one, so we don't have to worry too much about uh, nefarious people coming in. This site had swaps. You would make several of one type of block and mail them to a centralized person. Meanwhile, other people were making a different type of block. This central person would then take each of these blocks, swap them all out, and then making sure that everyone got one of each of the blocks that were made would mail them back. And basically, you had a quilt ready to sew together. So that was a great way for me to learn my piecing skills, to increase them and improve them. Um, Also, just getting to know people through that, through the forum. There were also things like Quilt Alongs, where if you didn't want to really be part of a swap, but you wanted to make a quilt and have other people join you and make their own quilt, encourage one another, give tips or tricks. This was a great thread to be able to follow and have postings for different ones. I'm part of several of them right now, and some of them I've been part of for, oh boy, over 10 years as I go through a very long process on a particular quilt. And I'll talk about that later. On another episode, I'll talk about my Dear Jane quilt. It's a massive, but they had quilt alongs. There's a section for different kinds of tutorials if someone was just going to give instructions on how to do a particular technique or a process. There's also a trading post for people to be able to post things that they have for sale, or if they're looking for things just to trade. Maybe they don't want money, but maybe they're looking for a particular kind of fabric and want to be able to swap out so they can have that kind of fabric. Other things on the forum that I'm able to enjoy there, one that I use almost daily and definitely weekly is a blog. They have a section where you can have your own personal blog. A lot of people use it for talking about their quilts and the projects that they're in, but it's also a place to be able to just do what you do on a blog. Just share your life and what you want to share, different aspects of your life and what's going on. That's another great way to get to know people is you get a little glimpse into their lives. Another great aspect that they have on this forum are the retreats. A lot of people love going to quilt retreats, and they try to have them in all different areas. The East Coast tends to be a little bit heavier populated as far as being able to go to a retreat. Um, it's also the East Coast is also not quite as expensive as the West Coast. I live on the West Coast, and cost of living is higher here. Different things are more expensive. But we've had a few retreats out here in the West Coast too, working on areas in the central United States. There haven't been any in other countries internationally, but I know that's something that we hope to down the road maybe have someone that would be able to host a retreat for some people from the States to go to, but also other people around the country in that area would be able to attend. It's just another way of being able to reach out to the quilters. Doing quilting for the past 15 years, this has been what has really fed into my soul of being able to really expand on what I do, get lots of encouragement on the things that I'm making, or if I'm having some struggles, some help and tips. I have been able to attend 2 of the quilt retreats because of this quilting forum. And those have been fantastic. Just a chance to be able to physically get together with some of the people that I have been chatting with for years online and being able to just spend that time quilting and not just quilting, but also enjoying the presence of other friends. And I do call them my friends. Many of them I have never met in person, but I do consider them good friends and have enjoyed so much being able to talk with them and chat with them, either through the chat room or on the forums and the different threads. So, if you are interested in trying to find a way to become part of a quilting community, but you're not comfortable going out in person and being in a group, or it's just not something that you're even able to do because there's nothing like that in your area, I would strongly recommend you look online, and you might be surprised at what you can find. I specifically would recommend Quilting Around the World. That I think is, for me, the best place to be. It is a moderated site, so we don't have to worry about spammers coming in and just doing what spammers do. And it's just a great place to really get to know people and to improve your own abilities. It's also a great place to show off. They have a gallery that you can create your own album and just put all your pictures in there of all the quilts that you've done. And I tell you what, when you post those pictures in any of the threads, you will get lots of cheering saying, hooray! And our husbands or significant others don't always understand our passion for quilting. And it's nice to be around another group of people that have that same passion and understand it. And they can see the work that you've put into something, and they can cheer you on and encourage you, and they can see the quality that you've done and know that you get a huge pat on the back for what you did. So if you're looking for a place to find other quilting-minded friends, I would recommend Quilting Around the World. And in the future, I'm going to be showing different projects, different quilts, different things I'm involved in by being part of Quilting Around the World. About half of what I'm doing is because I'm inspired by something on the forum, or it's a project or something that I'm part of on there. The other half of my quilting seems to be business quilting. So I hope you'll come back and enjoy the different segments that I post featuring Quilting Around the World, and maybe you'll find something that inspires you or something that you enjoy. I'm Veronica Johnson with So It Seems, Quilter at Large from Quilting Around the World. Keep stitching!